After a very busy 5 days in London, filled with late nights and late mornings, we were ready for a restful trip to Scotland. We only had 3 days in Scotland, but we planned on them being a quiet 3 days. Just sort of hanging out in our room, going on little nature walks, and just being more in nature and less of a city vibe, even though we were staying in Edinburgh. We took a high-speed train from London to Edinburgh, and the scenery on the way was just absolutely amazing. It was wonderful to see so many things right out the window. It was also very nice to have a book on my iPad and to intersperse looking out the window with reading.
Where are we?
We're in Scotland, Edinburgh.
Yeah, right. Awesome.
We got out of the train station, grabbed an Uber to our hotel. I'm continually obsessed about all of the beautiful hanging flower baskets that you see all over the place. I couldn't stop photographing them for my mother. We are staying near the castle. Edinburgh is known for its castle. We will be going on a tour of that castle later. And our hotel has the most exquisite view right directly across the street. So civilized. Oh. We're always happy to see a bathtub in the room. That means bubble baths every night. And we're always happy to see a pub right across the street when we're hungry and ready for food. Unfortunately, Shakespeare's was not serving food, but we quickly went around the corner and found another place that I don't even know the name of, and it's fabulous. Then back to our room for a bubble bath and a nightcap. The next day, we had a reservation for lunch at the kitchen. We learned about the kitchen while watching Men in Kilts. It's a wonderful Michelin star restaurant, and it specializes in seafood. And we looked at their prices for dinner and we thought, hey, let's try for lunch. What a beautiful restaurant. We opted to choose from the set lunch menu. I got the crab and the pork. Howard got the chicken and the trout. We started off with the bread, and the butter was so rich. It was amazing. And we had the wine pairing. We had a lovely consommé, and it was just a beautiful lunch. My crab tortellini was just beautiful. Howard's chicken was gorgeous, beautiful and rich. The sea trout. My pork was just so sumptuous, and the gooseberry crumble was delicious. However, as I was enjoying my lunch, Howard was getting queasier and queasier. We grabbed an Uber back to the hotel, and Howard was down for the count. He was not feeling at all well. So while Howard took a nap in a quiet, dark room, I went for a walk. I walked up to the castle, but then turned away because I didn't want to see the castle without Howard. So I just walked a little bit around and then eventually stopped somewhere and got some waters for the room because I knew that Howard would want to have a nice supply of water while not feeling well. Eventually, after about an hour, I walked back to the room. I ordered room service and rudely ate clams in front of Howard, while he managed to eat a salad, which did not stay down. And we got an early night. We were looking for early nights, so we got one. The next morning, Howard bravely rallied when I could tell He was not feeling well, but he rallied so that we could go walk around Edinburgh Castle, and we had a beautiful
Train
day.
and march up. That's why they built this esplanade in 1753 for the soldiers. Although they don't march anymore, only once a year during the festival, during the Royal Military Tattoo in August. So that's why we have these stands. They are taking them down, basically. Well, guys, we have just crossed the original gateway of Edinburgh Castle from the 16th century. You will see that for castles, the less sides you defend, the better. And this castle is quite ideal for that. Why? Because
As you look out at the city of Edinburgh, you realize what an incredibly defensible space the castle is built on. They could see people coming for miles. Ships in the Firth of Forth once set their maritime clocks by the 1 o'clock gun. The firing of the gun dates back to 1861. The gun is still fired every day at 1 p.m., except on Sundays, Good Friday, and Christmas. Breathlessly waiting at 12:59 p.m.
I remind you guys, the castle is built on top of an extinct volcano. And volcanoes are mainly basalt stone.
It really was a beautiful day and wonderful to be out in the crisp, fresh air. Howard has been an incredibly good sport for somebody who was up sick all night. So as soon as we leave the castle, the first thing we want to do is get some food. Well, we pulled over for some pub food, and it wasn't the healthiest, but it was a lot of fun. Stephanie told me I needed to try haggis nachos, and I didn't see those on the menu, so I did try haggis fritters, and they tasted okay. They're not bad. They taste very fried, but they're good. They're fun. I could sit down and eat those, yeah. I also had just a burger. Howard still didn't feel able to eat when we were at the restaurant. So, while we had planned for this to be a very leisurely trip on the Royal Mile, we were brisk about our walk. We made the trip to Holyrood House, but we were not at all leisurely about it. We just didn't feel up to really stopping in any of the stores. And we peered in the gates at Holyrood House, but again, we weren't up for a tour. It was lovely, but we had no desire for another tour of anything at that point. We were just going to get an Uber and head back to the room. But then I got distracted. I turned around the corner and stumbled on an old Scottish cemetery. I couldn't resist. Howard did ask to sit this one out, and he very kindly gave me all the time I wanted to just go for a lovely walk and take in the sounds. We called an Uber and headed back to our room. We decided to have some room service, but the soups they had were a little heavy for Howard's stomach at this point, so we ended up heading out to a sushi bar just down the street where Howard could get miso soup, which was really soothing to his stomach. And I never mind having some sushi. Then we got back to our room for an early night because we had to get up in the wee hours of the morning to head to Paris. But a lot would happen before we'd make it to Paris.